All right, guys, let's do this. I'm here in Habakkuk. Follow along with me. We're going to look at we're going to look at chapters 1 and 2 today, guys. In the beginning of Habakkuk, we get introduced to the prophet Habakkuk. And man, this guy is kind of ticked. He's calling out to God, and he's like, do you see what's around me? Life right now sucks. There's all this stuff happening. God, where are you? What are you doing? Do you see this? Do you see that? I need you to come in here. I need you to take care of this. Separate. Do some timeouts. Let's get moving. Where are you? Been there. I'm there right now. For those of you who've been praying for my mom, guys, in 3 months, she's going to have a brain surgery. I've got an adoption that I don't know what's happening with. Life right now kind of feels like that to me. I'm Habakkuk, and I'm like, hey, God, what's up? Where are you at? What are you doing? And then we get to verse 5, and guess what? The Lord shows up. And he's like, hey, dude, guess what? In verse 5, it says, look around to the nations. Look and be amazed. I am doing something in your day, something you wouldn't believe even if someone told you about it. Okay, raise your hand. Don't lie. If you have Googled before, like verses about joy in the struggle or verses about comfort when you're feeling low, and this has popped up right here, hand in the air. I have seen this verse before and been like, oh, it's a feel-good verse. I plucked it right out of Habakkuk. But guess what, guys? Let's keep going. It's not what you think. So God keeps going in verse 6, and he says, I am raising up the Babylonians. Guys, if you don't know, the Babylonians, horrific people, horrific nation of people. And God is saying, I'm raising them up. They will march across the world and conquer other lands. They're notorious for their cruelty and do whatever they like. Okay, but what? I feel like this is one of those moments in the movies where it like stops and all of a sudden you're in reverse, like, say what? But here's the thing. God is telling Habakkuk, dude, I'm raising up this nation of horrific people, and I am going to use them to purge my people of their sin. That's hard. We can stop right there and we can just fully admit that is hard for us to grasp. God, why would you use this horrible thing or this horrible person? Why would you use that to accomplish your plan? This is where I want to sit for a minute, because in the next part of chapter 1, we see how to wrestle with God faithfully. Habakkuk did not like what he heard. And you know what? Circumstances in our lives, sometimes they suck. And I certainly don't like sitting in the circumstances that I'm sitting in right now. And I have brought that to God and been like, Lord, I don't like this. I don't want to be here. What are you doing? But what we learn in Habakkuk is that we can wrestle with God faithfully. And I want to talk about what that looks like. So in verse 12, Habakkuk opens again and he says, oh, Lord, my God, my Holy One. Guys, the word he's using for Lord, it's Yahweh. It's his personal name. Habakkuk is approaching God intimately, and he's saying, my Holy One. He calls him our rock. You have sent these Babylonians to correct us, to punish us for our many sins, but you are pure and cannot stand the sight of evil. Guys, in this part of Habakkuk, he is telling God what he knows is true about him. He is wrestling with God and saying, I don't get this, but God, this is who you are. You are my rock. You are Yahweh. You are good. Habakkuk is showing us right here in this moment how we can wrestle faithfully with God. When we find ourselves in that place where we just feel rock bottom, where we don't get it, somebody has cancer, somebody has to have a brain surgery, your child is sick, your adoption stagnant, you've lost your house, you lost your job, you just find yourself in this place where you don't get it, and it doesn't make sense, and you are calling out to God and you're saying, I don't understand. Why are you doing this to me? We need to be Habakkuk in that moment, because in that moment where it seems like it's all gone, where we don't understand, we need to hold tight to what we know. God, you are good. You are the creator of all things. You love me. You are sovereign. You are in control. You see me. You know me. Your plan is worth my pain because your glory is what I desire. I believe you are who you say you are. And that is what faithful wrestling looks like. Habakkuk shows us, I don't get it. I don't really like it. God, this kind of ticks me off. But God, I love you. Abba, Father, I trust you. And that's what it looks like to marry that in relationship. Guys, Habakkuk's not done. There's so much more. For a tiny book of the Bible, it has a lot of meat packed into there. But what I want to walk away from today is this. We can be certain that our trials are not punishment because we have a relationship with God. We can faithfully wrestle with him and say on one hand, God, I don't get this. I don't even like it. I don't want to be here. I don't know what you're doing. And this kind of ticks me off. And on the other hand, we can say, Abba, Father, Daddy, I trust you. I want you more than anything else. Your glory is more important than my comfort. And I love you. And I believe you are who you say you are. That is faithfully wrestling. That is what we see in Habakkuk. And I think that is what we want to walk out into this world with. We want to have a relationship with God where we can trust him like that, where we can bring him what hurts and what sucks while still saying, but I love you and I don't mistrust you in this. I trust you more because I believe you are who you say you are. The beginning of chapter 2, Habakkuk says this. He says, I will climb up to my watchtower and stand at my guard post. There I will wait to see what the Lord says. I love that. Guys, let's climb up in our watchtowers. Let's stand guard. Let's wait to see what the Lord has for us, even in the middle of the things that hurt and that suck and that we don't like. God's at work there, and we can be sure of it.